In all of my discussions and all of my presentations to members of the conspiratorium, those are those folks who are a part of the Lionel Nation clerisy. Whenever I appear at the cutting room or in various venues, the one topic, the one issue that always comes up, that people want to know about, that people say, wait a minute, what about this? This case stinks to high heaven. Not COVID, not 9/11, not JFK or RFK or MLK, but the Las Vegas case. The case that stinks to high heaven. Everybody brings this up. Few mass shootings in modern history have left as many unanswered questions, bizarre inconsistencies, and outright suspicious circumstances as the October 1, 2017 massacre at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival in Las Vegas. Now, officially, we're told that 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, a quiet, wealthy gambler with no known history of violence, meticulously planned and executed the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. Now, the official narrative claims that Paddock acted alone, firing over 1,000 rounds into a packed crowd of 22,000 concertgoers, killing 60 people and injuring hundreds more before allegedly taking his own life. Yet, from the moment the details began to emerge, the story never quite added up. You see, every aspect of the case, Paddock's alleged motive, or lack thereof, the shifting timeline provided by law enforcement, the baffling disappearance of security footage, the sheer logistics of the attack, the strange behavior of key witnesses, and the immediate push to shut down all speculation. Sound familiar? It raises serious questions. And the more you dig, the more it feels like the official explanation is and was nothing more than a flimsy cover story designed to pacify the public rather than provide real answers. As of today, we still don't know. Starting with the motive that never was. The first and most glaring inconsistency in the Las Vegas massacre is the complete lack of motive. Paddock had no known history of mental illness, no ties to extremist groups, no political affiliations that could or might explain the act, and no recorded grievances against what we would call society. Now, unlike other mass shooters who have left, behind manifestos and rants and some kind of clear or attempted clear ideological motive, Paddock left nothing. No social media rants, no notes, no communication indicating he was planning anything violent. Nothing. Even more suspiciously weird, law enforcement initially floated a number of different possible explanations before settling on the rather vague claim that Paddock just snapped. That answer is laughable, considering the sheer amount of preparation and tactical precision involved in the attack. Did you see the ammo that had to be lugged there? Just snapped? This is the longest snap periods anybody's ever seen. This was not the work of someone who snapped. This was an extremely calculated operation requiring weeks, if not months, of meticulous planning. And then there's the absurd firepower and logistics. One of the most baffling elements of the case is how a 64-year-old man supposedly pulled off this attack all by his lonesome. According to reports, Paddock smuggled 23 firearms, including AR-15 style rifles, modified with bump stocks, into his hotel room over several days. He also brought thousands of rounds of ammunition, meticulously arranged cameras inside and outside the room and set up firing platforms to maximize his effectiveness. Now, anyone who has fired an AR-15 for an extended period knows that managing that many rifles, keeping them from overheating, swapping magazines, and maintaining some degree of accuracy over 10 minutes of sustained fire is a near impossible feat for a lone shooter, let alone a man in his 60s with no known military or combat training. And the sheer weight of the ammunition alone should have raised red flags. Yet no hotel staff noticed anything unusual. Furthermore, ballistics experts have pointed out that the sound of the gunfire in many videos suggests multiple weapons being fired simultaneously. And some witnesses even reported shots coming from different floors, which was initially confirmed by police scanner chatter. This is before being promptly scrubbed, of course, from the official timeline. How interesting. And speaking of which, the ever-changing timeline. One of the biggest red flags in the entire case was the shifting timeline provided by law enforcement. Initially, authorities claimed that Mandalay Bay security guard Jesus Campos was shot after Paddock had already begun his rampage. Then, after a week of scrutiny, the story changed. Campos was now said to have been shot before the attack, raising serious questions about why Paddock was allowed to continue firing uninterrupted for 10 minutes without any intervention. And even more bizarrely, if that's possible, Campos vanished from public view just before he was scheduled to give interviews. When he finally reappeared, it was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, of all places. A highly controlled media environment with zero tough questions. Why was a security guard at the center of the worst mass shooting in U.S. history whisked away, hidden from the press, and then paraded in front of a friendly daytime talk show host instead of serious investigators? And the missing footage, and of course a lack of transparency. You see, Las Vegas is one of the most heavily surveilled cities in the world. Mandalay Bay alone has thousands of security cameras, and yet not a single frame of footage showing Paddock transporting his arsenal to his room has ever been released. Isn't that something? Huh? Now, if this was truly the work of a lone gunman, why suppress that evidence? And adding to the mystery, initial reports from guests staying at the hotel indicated that there were SWAT teams breaching rooms other than Paddock's. And those reports were later dismissed, yet multiple videos from the scene suggest shooters at different vantage points. Now, if Paddock was truly the only gunman, why did law enforcement initially seem to believe otherwise? And then, of course, witnesses dying under mysterious circumstances. As with any high-profile suspicious event, there have been multiple instances of key witnesses somehow dying under bizarre circumstances. Just weeks after the shooting, survivors Kimberly Sushamel and Chad Nishimura, both of whom had spoken publicly about inconsistencies, in the official story, died suddenly. Sushamel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this name correctly, who had given interviews stating she saw multiple shooters, allegedly died in her sleep from unknown causes. These unexplained deaths only add to the sense that something is being covered up. Now, are these coincidences, or are we looking at a systematic effort to silence those who saw too much? You might say, well, that was then. No, I'll say when it's then. See, that's what people do. They push it off. Well, let's let by. No. Then there's the speedy push to shut down speculation. Always, always seen. Especially when cases are kind of fishy. Perhaps the most damning sign that there is more to the story is the way the media and law enforcement immediately sought to shut down speculation. Now, normally in the wake of a mass shooting, there is at least some room for open debate and discussion. But in this case, anyone who questioned the official story was branded, get ready, a conspiracy theorist, almost immediately. You know how that works. Why was there such a rush to suppress alternative narratives? Why was there no serious investigation into the inconsistencies? Why did authorities seem more focused on managing public perception than actually explaining what happened? And the question we have to ask is, was there a cover-up? When you add up all the inconsistencies, the lack of motive, the logistical absurdity, the changing timelines, the missing footage, the mysterious deaths, and the media's aggressive effort to shut down any discussion, you're left with one unavoidable conclusion. This case stinks to high heaven. And some have speculated that Paddock was an arms dealer working for intel agencies and the attack was a botched operation or an intentional false flag event. Others have suggested that multiple shooters were involved and Paddock was simply the fall guy. The truth remains elusive. But what is crystal clear is that the official story is full of holes. And here's the final question. Will we ever know the truth? Will we? As with many high-profile events that challenge the establishment narrative, the Las Vegas massacre is likely to remain shrouded, of course, in mystery. And the lack of transparency, the immediate suppression of alternative theories, and the suspicious behavior of key players all suggest that something is being hidden from the public. Imagine that. Where have you heard that before? So for now, all we can do is continue to ask the tough questions for as long as you want. Demand transparency, demand the truth, and refuse to accept an explanation that doesn't make any sense. The victims and their families deserve the full truth, no matter where it leads. And until we get real answers, the Las Vegas massacre will remain one of the most suspicious and deeply unsettling tragedies in modern American history. So what do you think? What's your take? What are your questions? What are your thoughts? Write them in the comment section. Let's review this. Be a citizen grand juror. I'm a former prosecutor. The people that we get to decide cases from murder to traffic accidents are civilians. You, people with common sense. So my friends, I ask you to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and whatever you do, comment as you see fit.